Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius and welcome to another day in the fish room. So recently I've been making a lot of changes with my aquariums. I moved a lot of fish around and there's been some ups, there's been some downs, and today I want to give you guys a full look at all my aquariums and this full fish room tour. So first off, we're going to look behind us at my 125 gallon African cichlid tank. So if you saw my last video, you saw me convert this from a New World cichlid grow-out aquarium into this African cichlid tank, specifically with Mbuna. I have all Mbuna in this aquarium, and I'm definitely enjoying this aquarium. I love the scape, and most importantly, I love the bright color of these Mbuna. Now, I know some of you guys would have preferred me keeping this as a Central and South American aquarium because, you know, we all love Central and South American cichlids. However, these are the fish that got me into the hobby, these Mbuna cichlids. These are the fish that taught me the ropes. When I first started, these are the guys that got me onto YouTube. And I figured that now that I have a lot more experience, I could definitely create what I would call the ultimate Mbuna aquarium. And so far, this is a pretty awesome aquarium. Like I said, I love the color, I love the scape, and just the behavior of these fish. Definitely a very incredible aquarium. So this tank has been running now for about 2 weeks, and it's pretty cool because the fish are still trying to develop their hierarchy. They're still trying to figure out who's tank boss. It looks like the tank boss is my male ACI. He's the biggest fish. He's about 4 inches, and he's a very beautiful fish as well. Look at that. So he's the tank boss. He's in here with 2 females. I think because he has the 2 females, he focuses his attention on them. And so far, he's a decent tank boss. He's not too aggressive. He's not aggressive enough, if that makes sense. You know, you got to have a perfect tank boss. He can't be too aggressive, and at the same time, he can't be too peaceful. He has to have perfect balance to keep everybody else in check. And so far, he's doing a good job. But I see this albino red top zebra right here. He's also trying to claim a lot of territory. I do believe he would be a little bit more aggressive because he just has a little bit more of an aggressive nature. So I'm hoping that he doesn't become the ultimate tank boss, but so far he definitely is second in line. After him, I think the cobalt blue zebra is next, and I love this guy. I love his colors, consistent blue colors. That's just awesome. After that is probably one of these red zebra as far as the next in the hierarchy. Another fish consistent with that orange color. A classic when it comes to these Mbuna. I have another red zebra right here. I have a pearl zebra right over here in the center. I have yellow labs in there, a male and 2 females. I have Masobo Deep Mugunga. So these yellow ones right here, these are females. If I could focus, these guys move so much my camera can't keep up. But let's see. Back there is a female. I have the Masobo Deep Mugunga. And then I have one dominant male who is over here digging out this cave. He has some decent colors. I have a female Kenyai. I purposely picked out the female because I like that blue coloration. Well, this is the male. So that blue guy right there, the blue and black guy, is a male. And this yellow one is a female. I have 2 females, and then I have a male that's right here in the front, showing female coloration, this guy in the center screen, because he's just not that dominant. Oh, with the yellowtail ACI. When I put them in this aquarium, one of the females was holding eggs in her mouth. When I released her, most of the fry got out, and they're still surviving. So if you look in the cracks and crannies, you can find some darting around. There's actually one back there. You probably won't see it because he's trying to camouflage, but I have about 7 yellowtail ACI fry, and one of them is actually like a older generation. So right here in the front, my camera can barely keep up, but this little guy darting around, he's about, I'd say, 1/4 inch. He's a yellowtail ACI fry. We also have a female mason reef. Of course, I ordered the male. I paid for a male, but they sent me a tiny little fish, and ended up being a female, so that sucks. And then I went and I added some more. Now, I didn't quarantine a new fish, and I figured that because I went and transferred these guys from my 210, that was pretty stressful. So the tank is already at high risk, so I just went and added new fish without quarantining them. Just because the tank was already at high risk, and I might as well just treat the entire tank for any potential parasites or diseases that may come in. So I just bumped up the temperature and I added the new fish. The new fish include these 2 Denisoni. So this blue fish in the center. My camera is just not cooperating. That guy right there in the center, the blue guy. And then I have a second one back there. I also added this OB Labiotropheus in the front. And then I added a Williams blue lip, a very tiny fish right there. And then right in front of him, another tiny fish. This tiny one is supposed to be, that guy right there is supposed to be a yellow top Afra. A fish I wanted for a long time, a guaranteed male, but of course a fish that small is really hard to guarantee that I actually have a male. But I'm not sure if you guys are actually into that stuff, because like I said, most of you are into your Central and South American cichlids. But for me, I'm definitely enjoying this. I'm enjoying just these Mbuna. They have a ton of energy, a ton of excitement, and it's definitely an aquarium that's very vibrant and full of life, and definitely a tank that I love to just stare at. Now, as far as the future, I don't plan on adding any more fish. If anything, I got to take out some of these fish because I have, like I said, all the ACI fry hiding in the cracks and crannies. About 7 of those babies hiding that I got to take out. Eventually, I may add a catfish, maybe a pleco or something, but for now, this is my stock. And like I said, I'm enjoying it. From there, we have the rest of the aquariums. So first off, let's take a look at Indonimus, a very simple aquarium. This is a 125, and he's in here doing his thing. Very responsive. I love how he responds to my hand. He's just willing to follow me non-stop, and he's an awesome looking fish. He's about 9 inches now, and I definitely appreciate him. I appreciate the fact that he's able to live with plants and he doesn't destroy them. Most cichlids will destroy plants, and this guy is being very good as far as keeping these plants alive. He does rip up a few leaves. Like once a week I collect 9 to 12 leaves from the filter, but for what he could do, he's definitely not doing bad. And he's also allowing these roots for the pothos to grow, which is nice as well because it gives him a little bit of coverage. And of course the pothos is filtering out the water a little bit. So yeah, he's in here doing his thing. He also has a little bristlenose pleco hiding over there. The pleco can't come out. If you look, the glass does have a little bit of algae, and that's because he does not allow the pleco to come out, because if the pleco comes out, he's going to eat it. But definitely enjoy this fish. I love his entertainment. I mean, I love his interaction. Very entertaining fish. He's a beast. After that, we have the 350-gallon aquarium. A lot of changes with this aquarium. So first off, I added a bunch of fish. All the fish that were in that African cichlid tank, that 125 over there, I put them over here. So these include mainly my Vieja Fenestratus, the pink fish right in the front. The cool thing about this fish is that it changes colors all the time. When I first put it in the tank, it was stressed out, so it had this marble pattern. Now that it's getting a little bit more comfortable in the aquarium, it has this pink color. So it's pretty nice to see him change colors depending on his mood. Behind him, Vieja Menticulata. This is the black glow cichlid. This fish was already in this aquarium. We have Vieja Berhoderi, a cool looking fish. This is definitely a male, pretty aggressive. We have 6 of these Vieja bifasciatus. I got a feeling these are going to be my favorite fish. These Vieja bifasciatus, very colorful fish. And these guys are only like 3 inches. So imagine as they grow. The bigger they get, the more dominant they get, the more color they will produce. And these fish are going to look insane. So I have 6 of those. And I'm definitely going to have some breeding pairs. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I also transferred this Vieja argenteus. Where is he? He's another very beautiful Vieja right here in front of us. Gorgeous fish. I also took this guy and put him in here. He was living with my African cichlids. This is a starry night cichlid. He's not that happy, he's not that confident. Before, when he was living with the African cichlids, he was one of the biggest fish, so he was showing a nice, very dark body with the white speckles. Up here, he's at the bottom of the hierarchy, so his body is more brown, but still very nice looking fish. And I think that is all the new fish. Oh, the biggest fish, the Puricide cichlid. I added the Puricide to this aquarium for my 880, and that's because I wanted a tank boss that was appropriate, a tank boss that wasn't going to be too aggressive. I took out the red devil that was in this tank, and that would have made this guy tank boss. But this guy is extremely aggressive, so I didn't want him to become tank boss, so I put her in this tank, and she is the tank boss. She is the queen of this realm, and so far she is doing a decent job. Now, when I first put her in the tank, this guy attacked her like crazy, but somehow they worked it out, and she is the tank boss, and she's doing a decent job. The only thing I complain about is that now she's tearing up my plants. She was living in this aquarium with all these plants on top, and she never touched them. I put her in this tank, and now she's bothering my plants, and that's most likely because she's tank boss, and as tank boss, she gets perks, and she gets to do whatever she wants. So because she's doing whatever she wants, she's tearing up my plants. Oh yeah, and I have plants up here. I'm trying to grow plants in this 350 because, you know, plants are very beneficial. Before, I just couldn't figure out how to get these lights suspended above the tank. I figured out just flipping this upside down, and I was able to screw that to this beam. So I'm trying to grow some plants, but like I said, the Puricide is trying to prevent me from doing that. Besides that, we have the rest of the fish that were already in here. We have the beautiful Mayan cichlid. We have a pair of convicts. I put out my convicts that were down there. I had a pair of convicts in all the fry. Of course, I fed the fry to my predatorial fish in these aquariums. and the parents came back up here. So now in this tank I have 5 convicts, 3 females, 2 males. My African leaf fish over here, my female jaguar, so she is the sister of Indonimus down there. I have a female doveye over there, a female jaguar, a female green terror, and I don't know, it's like I always end up with females. The majority of my fish are females. I have a male Mesoharis Geoffrius, the second in line when it comes to tank boss. A pretty fish, but a pretty aggressive fish as well. Jack Dempsey's Cichlid back there, underneath the log. And yeah, that is the, oh, of course, the 5 Balazurks. These guys are awesome. Yeah, that is the stock of this aquarium. I also have a Raphael catfish under there. You can see the line of his body, and then my African big eye catfish. But yeah, that is the stock of this aquarium. Currently, it is a little bit overstocked, but I'm enjoying it, and eventually I will be taking some fish out as they grow. But for now, like I said, I am enjoying it. Sadly, there was one casualty, and it came out of nowhere. So when I added all these fish, I mentioned it in a different video. These parasites that attack our fish, they are in our aquariums, and they wait for stressful situations to attack our fish, and that's what happened. I was catching fish out of this aquarium, I was putting fish into this aquarium, and the stress caused the immune systems of these fish to lower, and one of the fish that I love the most in this aquarium, my Geophagus brasiliensis, caught a parasite. That's the reason why I emptied this aquarium. Before I had my, like I said, I had the comics in there. I took them out, I put the Geophagus in that aquarium because I noticed he was breathing heavily, and then 2 days later he died. So it definitely sucked, came out of nowhere. Out of all the fish I moved, I didn't touch him, and yet he was stressed out, and that quickly the parasite got him and he died. So that definitely was a huge loss. I just mentioned him in one of my short videos that he was one of my top fish. He was my #1 most beautiful fish at the moment, and I lost him, so that definitely sucked. Next we have my 880 gallon aquarium. So with this tank, as you can see, there are some new fish in here. I have my now tilapia. This is the fish that was living in my 210 with the African cichlids. I actually wanted to keep this fish upstairs with the current fish in the 210. However, he was being too aggressive, so I decided to bring him down here. And even down here, he's showing some aggression. Look at that. And I guess because of his size, he has that confidence. But it's not to the point where it's like worrisome. He's not stressing fish out, but he is trying to claim a spot in the hierarchy. So when he first came to the tank, he picked a fight with, out of all fish, he picked a fight with this guy. This is the second most aggressive fish in the tank, my pike cichlid. He picked a fight with him, and of course it didn't end well. The pike beat him up and then had him stuck in a corner for like 2 days. Now that you know that the pike is boss, he is able to move around a little bit more. So you can see right on his side, he has that little scar as a reminder to never mess with the pike again. And I also have in this aquarium my red devil. Now a lot of people are saying, how can I put the red devil in this aquarium? If you follow the channel, you know that before, the red devil was always fighting my Oscar who's in this tank, or who was in this tank. Sadly, the Oscar passed away. And out of the 2 fish that passed away, my Geophagus and the Oscar is just the most confusing, waiting for a fish to go, because one day he was eating normal, acting normal with the other fish, and then the next day he was on the bottom, and not just that, his body was like in an L shape. So I have no idea what killed him, and that's always the worst when you don't know what killed the fish, because you don't know if it's a threat that's still in your aquarium, affecting your other fish or what. So that definitely sucked. That was like a month ago, and then it was 2 weeks. I decided to add the fish into this aquarium, and the red devil was in this tank, and I was like, I don't want him causing problems for the new fish, so I'm going to put him in this aquarium, and if he's too aggressive, I'm just going to rehome him. The first few days he was very aggressive. He attacked all my catfish, he was chasing my peacock bass, but I decided to give him some time because, you know, he got to establish himself in a hierarchy, and so far he's doing okay. He pretty much stays the majority of his time back there doing his thing. For the most part, he is pretty humble. I'm hoping that it stays this way, because I can use him in this aquarium. He can be beneficial, and that's because if we look over here, you can see my jaguar cichlid. This guy is a little bit colored up, and that's because he's become more dominant than the female, and that's the reason why the female is back here. She's hiding because he's become more dominant, and he's been non-stop trying to seduce her. Actually over here, if you see, the gravel is like moved around. He's been digging out this corner because I think he's trying to force her to lay eggs. So yeah, it's good to have the red devil in this aquarium. It's also good to have the pike, because we need as much resistance as possible for these jaguars if they breed. I think if it was just peacock bass, the flagtail, and these more peaceful fish, these jaguars would have these fish stuffed in the corner being super aggressive. But now that I have the pike, now that I have the red devil, and even this tilapia, the more resistance, the more these jaguars are going to be more contained. But right now the female, she's not ready to lay eggs. She's back there avoiding the male. So who knows when they're going to breed, but I do have a feeling that they are going to breed. Besides that, Indonimus is still growing. This guy is about, he's over 22 inches. He's a very big fish. After him, my Cichlid is starting to grow. He's also improving in color. Before I told you that he wasn't showing color because he was malnourished. I started putting vitamins in his raw foods, and he's definitely starting to improve. And then my Orinoco back there, he's doing his thing. He was my favorite looking peacock bass, but I think now I like the Indonimus a little bit more. But the Orinoco is always on fire when it comes to his coloration. Flagtail, he's a beast. He's the algae eater of the aquarium. No complaints, no problems. The female now, she's a female Mozambique tilapia. She's doing her thing. She doesn't look too bad, doesn't look too good. She's just in here. My two spotted these are 4-line pictus catfish. They're doing their thing. Like I said, the red devil was attacking them, so now they stayed the majority of their time on this side of the tank. Before, one used to be over here, one used to be over there, but because of the red devil, they got to come over here. They are territorial towards each other, so they do fight each other, but they're forced to stay on this side of the tank because of the red devil. We have the ghost knife back there in this cave. You can see his face wiggling around, waiting for some food. And then over here, we have my Polypterus elcheri. And then back there, we have my Lima shovelnose. Now, I was thinking about rehoming some fish. Firstly, my Lima shovelnose. This is my second biggest fish, about the same size as this Indonimus, and yet I rarely see it because it's always hiding. A fish that big, if I'm not seeing it, I don't want it in my aquarium. So I was thinking about rehoming it. And if I rehome that fish, I'm also going to rehome this bitcher, mainly because this tank just doesn't support them. I have so many blind spots with the way this tank was built. So I think that somebody else could enjoy them in a more appropriate aquarium for a fish like this. And if I rehome those two, I'm probably going to rehome this tilapia as well. Just because, like I said, she's not ugly, but at the same time, she's not the prettiest fish. And I could either just let these guys enjoy the extra space or replace it with a peacock bass. But yeah, that is the 880. And overall, not too bad with the exception of the loss of the Oscar. Besides that, up here we have some crazy growth with the plants. We have my wandering Jew wandering around like crazy. This purple and white and green plant is all wandering Jew, and this thing is just growing crazy, spreading all over. And you know, the stronger a plant grows, the more beneficial it is for the aquarium. So I'm definitely not complaining. But yeah, that is the 880. Okay, so next we have my 20-gallon no-tech aquarium. And by no tech, I just mean no technology, no filters, no lights, no heaters. Everything running on this aquarium is natural. So I have natural light coming down. I have natural plants for filtration. And like I always say, this tank is amazing. I'm amazed at the results I get from this aquarium. A very successful aquarium. This is probably the best time to view this tank. We have some direct sunlight entering into this aquarium. You know, a lot of people say never allow direct sunlight to enter into your tank. Never put your tank in front of a window. However, plants make that very possible, and not just possible, it makes it very enjoyable. So above the water, these are the heavy lifters when it comes to removing waste. We have a nice lucky bamboo that's about 3 feet long. A few more stems of lucky bamboo. I just put in this piece of bacopa, a single strand, and if you look over the edge, now we have all those leaves. What else? We have pothos. Underneath the water, we have the plants that are good for producing oxygen for the fish. So this right here is dwarf sash. This is the most dominant plant in here. When I first planted it, it was like 6 individual plants. Now I have anywhere between 20 to 30, and they're growing extremely big. Some of these leaves are like 10 inches long, just showing how much they love this environment. We have Amazon sword doing awesome, some very nice sized leaves in there. We have one Amazon sword over there, another one back there. We have crypts in here, we have java fern, and just overall a very nice mix of plants, and these plants are doing awesome for the fish. So originally I was only keeping a paradise gourami in this aquarium. Currently that fish is right there in the back. You can kind of see them through the brush. And I was like, what other fish should I add to this tank? You guys gave me some great suggestions, but then I remembered that I need a super hardy fish for this aquarium because in the winter there's no heater, so the temperature drops all the way to like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer, the temperature reaches like 90 degrees Fahrenheit on the hottest days. So I needed a fish that can handle those extreme temperatures. And this is definitely one of your best options, the cherry barb. So I have 4 cherry barbs all together, 3 females, 1 male. The females, they look pretty good themselves, but the male, he is absolutely stunning. An all red fish amongst all this greenery. Just definitely a very beautiful fish. Right now he's not coming out, and I just fed the tank a little bit earlier, so I won't be able to lure him out, but definitely a nice setup. I'll give you guys a full video in the future. But yeah, for now I'm definitely loving it. I still have to figure out what I'm gonna do about this algae because one of my algae eaters died. I was using 5 Nerite snails and they were doing a great job. I lost one of them. I'm not sure why. All I know is this is his shell over here empty. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do because as summer approaches, the days will get longer, the temperature will reach higher temps, and that will cause algae to grow a little bit more. So I definitely need something to combat the algae. I was thinking 5 more Nerite snails, but I could choose like an algae eating fish. I was thinking about autocinclus, but the thing is they are schooling fish, and I don't want to overdo my bio load in this aquarium. So yeah, probably going to end up doing a Nerite snails. But yeah, the main difference with this aquarium are these cherry barbs, and I'm loving them. Okay, so right here is another 20-gallon aquarium. This is my second attempt at creating a no-tech aquarium. And here we have another Paradise gourami. And this guy is being kept by himself. And because he's by himself, his social behavior has been pretty incredible. So here he is now. Not only is he more social, he also actually looks better. He has that nice long tail. He has the longer fins. And definitely looking awesome in this aquarium by himself. So yeah, this tank really not doing so great. Mainly because there's not as much light in this room. There's only 2 windows. One of the windows, there's a bunch of pine trees blocking the view of the light. And the second window is just, I think that the tank is so far from the window. It's about 4 feet away from the window. And because of that, I'm not getting the same growth from the plants. And, you know, the plants are key to success. Well, this pothos did get a little bit longer, but it's not growing as fast as it grows in the other room. And, yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle getting this tank to thrive. So it's been going on for about, I'd say, 4 months, and this is all the growth I've gotten. Maybe about 3 inches on this pothos. I could barely get this Bacoba alive. I have the Lucky Bamboo, kind of doing okay. Peace Lily, kind of doing okay. Lucky Bamboo again. This is Jungle Vow. I tried to add this to Indonimus' tank, that 125, but he tore it up. So I put it up here. It is doing okay. Of course, nothing like Jungle Vow. This actually looks like Dwarf Sag because it's just not enough light for it to get nice and big. However, I am glad to see that it is alive. But yeah, this tank is struggling. And I think it's just a matter of time. Because there's less light, these plants are going to grow at a much slower rate. And because of that, they're not really as good. So I can't really add any other fish. By himself, this guy is good because he could take air directly from the surface. However, if I ever wanted to add any other fish, I can't because I just don't got enough plant growth. So I was thinking maybe I could just put an artificial light. That does take away a little bit from my initial goal. But if I wanted the tank in this aquarium, I could just put an artificial light. And that should cause a lot of these plants to wake up and to really start serving their purpose. Other than that, I was thinking I could actually take this whole aquarium outside and let it be an outdoor tank. And that would be awesome. I should definitely get a lot of growth outside. But yeah, second attempt at a no-tech aquarium. Doing okay. Growing extremely slow, but yeah, this is the first look at it. Okay, so we're gonna wrap things up here. This is my 210-gallon aquarium. In this tank I have my 7 10-foot barbs. These guys came out of my 350-gallon aquarium, so I have all 7 of those. I have silver dollars, my 2 spotted silver dollars, and my 2 striped silver dollars. I just felt as if they were a good combination with these 10-foot barbs. I have a breeding pair of plecos. Here inside this wood. Originally the plan was just to have the schooling fish with the plecos, and I believe that the plecos would have bred in this aquarium, and I thought that these schooling fish wouldn't harm the fry. However, now I know that the fry have no chance because I was forced to put this guy in here. Originally I tried to put him in my 880. This guy is 9 inches and yet they tried to eat him. So I had to move him out of there because they would have killed him, and I brought him up here. Since I brought him up here, I just brought the Azul up here as well. And then I also brought my tiger Oscar, who was living in my grow-out aquarium. Most of you probably never even knew I had this fish, and it's because in that grow-out aquarium, I barely showed it because they were always hiding and just very afraid. In this new tank, there's just a lot more activity, and it encourages the Oscar to be more active, and I do believe he will grow faster. I bought him the same time I bought the Azul, And you can see the Azul is like 2 inches larger than the Oscar, and that's simply because they were in 2 separate aquariums, 2 different environments, and the Oscar was in an environment that was just very shy and stressful. Now he's here, he should grow a lot faster. So eventually when these guys are big enough, they will be added to the 880, but I think they're going to be in this aquarium for a good year or so, because I'm going to get them to like 13 to 14 inches before I put them down there in the 880. I do believe they will grow fast because the Azul is very competitive towards the mono, and then we have the Oscar over here who's trying to just keep up. So I do believe I'm going to get a lot of growth, a lot of color, and just overall, this tank is an office, and I believe it's a very appropriate aquarium for an office. The movement, the colors from the peacock bass, just very relaxing and allows you to really meditate in front of this aquarium. But yeah, that is going to be a wrap for the fish room tour. I do have the backyard pond, but I'm not going to include it just because this video is getting too long, and also I'm doing work on a pond. I had to redo the waterfall because there was a leak in the waterfall, so there's going to be changes with that, so I'm going to make a video about that pretty soon. But yeah, that is going to be a wrap with the video. So let me know what you think out of all my aquariums is the best, and also if there's anything you would change about my aquariums, what would you change? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one.